So you can probably tell from the title and thumbnail that this is not a normal Quest accepted video. I subscribe to pages and am interactive on YouTube with our subscribers. That is my cat. I met a good friend through YouTube. She posted a video a little while back, and it was a review, spoilers, reaction to this book. When it comes to the internet, I live under a rock. I had never heard of Brittani before. Kayla, my buddy, she did a video on this book, and it got an overwhelming number of views. So I started to look into who Brittani was and what this book was about. Some book that some person wrote I'd never heard of, and suddenly thousands of people are watching this video. So, of course, I scrolled through the comments and I got spoilers. And I got intrigued. This video also will probably have spoilers. I think you should read this book because it is so crazy. Personally, I chose to listen to it on Audible. I do have an affiliate code. If you cannot afford to buy Brittani's book, you can use this code to sign up for a free trial of Audible and get free books. I don't care if you want to sign up for Audible for any other reason, you need to get this book and listen to it. Or you can use the other link in the description and buy a hard copy. Personally, I would recommend listening to it on Audible because Brittani herself narrates it. Listening to her tell her story in her own voice is very powerful. I work for the county courthouse and I work for district court and see a lot of people who are filing for protection orders and dealing with domestic violence. And the biggest thing you can do is say something. Anybody who is threatening you, stalking you, harassing you, you can get help. And I think that's the biggest thing that hit home with me with Brittani's story is how long the verbal abuse and the mental abuse went on before she got help because she was afraid. If you don't want more spoilers than I may have already let out, stop watching, go to the Amazon link in the description, get an Audible trial, buy the book, listen to it, read it, just do it because it is a fascinating story. I just blasted through Brittani's book in a day and a half. I started it one morning and by the next afternoon I was in shock and just could not believe it was over or what happened. My review, my opinions on the book, it starts off with her explaining who she is. You know, she's in her 30s, but so basically she does what a lot of people in your 30s do. So she goes on Tinder, sets up a profile, finds a guy, and he's got an accent, and he's got a dog, and what more do women want than a cute guy with a dog? It's what works. So here's this perfect guy. The very first time I think the first date they were going on, he kind of blew her off. He was apologetic. He said all the right things. He was the perfect man. That should be said in air quotes because he was a master manipulator. What's scary about this is he knew exactly what to say, what to do, to just pull her in and make her love him. You know, it goes from he's this Serbian dude who has mafia ties. He ended up living with her in her home, a house she bought, she loved, they end up engaged, and she gave him her virginity. She was gonna save herself for marriage. Looking back, it's creepy. I wanted it to work out. I wanted him to be this perfect, hunky dude. He's a doctor, sexy, European, accent, doctor, cute dog. Oh, he's loaded. He's got tons of money because of his family ties to the mafia. There were times she wanted to leave. Suddenly when you're having somebody's baby, you can't just up and leave. There's a lot of legality to it. It's still his kid. So the struggle of trying to make it work for your child versus not feeling safe. The first time they actually had physical violence involved, I was just like, Brittani, run. Come on, get out. His mom lived with them for a while, and his mom also would like rub his leg. And I don't think we ever found out whether or not that was actually Milos's mom, or if that was just a con artist that was like, I'm his mom. You have to let me love my grandbaby. Which, by the way, Milos also never wanted to hold the baby, and was acting super sketch, not like, this is my child, I love him, I made him, but like, oh yes, that is a baby. Look how healthy he is. And they talked about how he didn't have birthmarks and other characteristics like, oh yeah, let's get him a passport so you can take him to Serbia and sell him, because another issue in this book was the possibility that Milos and his mom were just trying to get a baby to take back to Serbia and sell because, shocker, they don't actually have any money. He's actually broke. And it turns out that he may or may not have gone to medical school. He told Brittani originally he needed 2 months to study for his boards so that he could become a board certified doctor and practice medicine at a hospital where they lived. And he kept making excuses and he had to stay up late studying. But oh, by the way, he wasn't studying. He was watching porn and webcamming and doing dirty things while his, pregnant fiance was asleep in the next room. So Brittani wanted out. But guess what? Milos has super rare cancer. A cancer with a survivability of like 2 to 8 years. And oh my god, it's super bad. And cancer is terrible and not something you joke about and not something you lie about. And this creep actually lied about having cancer. He wouldn't let Brittani go to doctor appointments with him. And then later on, fast forward to the end, she gets a protection order and goes to court. And he can't name his oncologist. I'm pretty sure if you've got a life-threatening disease and you're going in and getting treatments from a doctor, you're going to know his name. But his type of cancer changes twice. Like, oh, my diagnosis is actually this. But what's super cringy is he has all the symptoms of dealing with, like, immunotherapy and the drugs that kill the cancer cells. So Brittani has to wonder, well, what the hell is making him sick? If he is lying about having cancer, oh, well, at some point it was brought up that it's not uncommon for doctors to use cocaine and other drugs, stimulants like that, because if you're working, 18, 24, 36-hour shifts, how do you stay awake? So the theory then was that Milos was going through withdrawals from whatever he was on, and the withdrawal symptoms mimic that of the side effects of the cancer drugs. And Brittani figured out he didn't have cancer because she looked up the medication he said he was on, which is administered by IV. And if you've ever had an IV in your hand or arm, you know that there's a mark from it. I was in the hospital once for 4 days. I've got really bad asthma. Sometimes I can't breathe. I was hospitalized and I was on an IV the whole time, and it took a couple weeks for the bruising and everything to go away. So it's just kind of weird that if he's getting cancer treatment, he's got no marks on his arms, no bruising, no track marks from needles. So faking cancer, though, I mean, that is like, there's low-life douchebag lying, and then there's faking cancer. It just, that's kind of where it hit to me, because, back up. So when he said he had cancer, and like, you have to love me, you can't leave me, I'm dying, I have cancer, he blamed her for it. He said that she stressed him out and caused his cancer, which, Milos, bro, if you're out there, you're garbage. Just stop it. So she finds out he's a lying sack of shit, and finds out more and more. Did I mention that Milos got married to somebody who isn't Brittani to get his green card? Because, oh yeah, he also has a wife. And it pretty much comes down to everything creepy he did was to get money because he was broke. Are they in the mob? Is there an Arthur? Oh my god. Things keep happening and you don't know. You get to the point where you don't even, his name might not have even been Milos, because if you Google his name, you get results for like a pianist. It's really hard to believe that this happened to somebody, but hearing her tell her story through the audiobook made it that much more real. I mean, she's not an author, so at times the storyline, like, it was a little hard to follow. But it was more authentic. She could have easily had somebody ghostwrite for her, and it would have been polished and pristine and professional, but it wouldn't have been her voice coming through. So she goes back to LA to do some business, which is actually her and her mom getting her away from him so that she can take legal action, because he got abusive. He hurt her a second time. I think he hyperextended her pinky and also did something to her wrist at one point. It was hard because he didn't want her to take the baby, because I think he was probably onto her that she wanted to leave. So she had to somehow get out. So she gets her mom to help her, and I believe it was a friend of hers who was her dentist, she told about it. And it was finally like, go to the cops, tell them what happened. It's been a long time since the last physical violence happened, but just try to get a protection order. So she goes down to the court, and side note for anyone out there in this situation, most courthouses, cities, counties, whatever you have near you, a lot of them do have paralegals and legal assistants who will help you pro bono. They give up like free time to help. So she was able to sit down and talk to a paralegal who told her what to do. So she got a lawyer, she hired a private investigator, dug up all this information, and of course Milos gets a scumbag lawyer who tries to blackmail her at one point. It's ridiculous. Just read or listen to this book. But it has a happy ending. She is granted a 2-year protection order. She gets full custody of Misha, who now goes by the name Rex. Long, rambling story short. I didn't know who Brittani was before. I am now subscribed to her channel, and I've watched a few of her videos, and I do think she is adorable and quirky. My friend Kayla Tots, who has a channel that you should subscribe to because she's hilarious. So she also has a video about this book on there. She and I are actually doing a giveaway together because we want to share what happened to Brittani and happens to many, many people. If you were being controlled, harassed, stalked, whatever, there are only so many things the law can do in certain situations, but if you have undeniable proof, you will get the protection you need. As a side story, sometimes you just hear a story about what's going on and how your job matters. So somebody came in, I can't get into specifics because protected stuff, but somebody came in for a protection order because they were being threatened very seriously. Somebody was threatening to kill them. So they came into the courthouse, applied for a protection order, went before a judge. The protection order got granted, so the petitioner was granted protection. Can't come within a certain amount of feet, can't contact, blah, blah. But what that also did was the respondent, the person who was threatening them, a hold was put on so that they could not purchase weapons. And this person tried to purchase a gun both here in Idaho and over in Washington because they were going to fulfill their promise to kill the person they were threatening. But because of what we do where I work and the fact that this person felt threatened and came in and got a protection order, that person threatening them was not able to buy a gun. They weren't allowed to purchase a weapon. I mean, that's not going to stop them from, buying a machete or something else. But it just kind of shows, like, if you feel threatened, there are things you can do. So it's important to get help if you need it. There's 800 numbers you can call. There's services in cities. They have shelters for women and children and men too, just not in the same place, where you can be safe and feel protected and try to get things in order. So we're gonna do this giveaway. So the giveaway, you have to subscribe to my channel. This one, Quest Accepted. You need to go over and see Kayla Tots on her channel and subscribe and comment on both of our channels so we know you did it. We are going to, I believe, use like one of those random name generator things, and the only way we're gonna know whose name to put in is if you comment on both. So once again, there are 4 physical copies of Brittani's book. I'm going to put one there when I edit this. And also a Kindle, brand spanking new Amazon Kindle. So once again, if you would like to purchase her book, you can use this link. Or if you want to listen to it like I did, which I highly recommend, you can use this link to get a free trial of Audible, and 2 free books, I believe, come with that. I would listen to Brittani's book, and then I just listened to this other book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is basically my personal philosophy on life, and it's also awesome, so you should check that one out too, since you can have 2 free books. Yeah, do it. Side note, I love Audible. I've had Audible for a year. I do the plan, I think it's the gold plan, where you get a credit every month. You can set up the frequency of it, but a credit is a book. So you can get a book that's $5, or you can get a book that's $30 for that credit, and then just listen away. If you stuck with me through this to the end, I appreciate it. I love this book. I love Brittani. I love listening to her tell her story. I am so glad she was able to escape. So this giveaway, subscribe to my channel, Quest Accepted, right here. Subscribe to Kayla Tots. Comment on both of our videos. I don't think it needs to be anything specific. I might eat my words. She's in Texas, I'm in Idaho. We're far apart. And we only know who qualifies if you comment on both. Thank you once again for listening to me ramble about this book. I just really felt like I needed to talk about it, whether I get 5 views or a million. I just really wanted to get this out there, because even if one person who needs to hear any advice, anything, if this book changes anybody's life, any of it makes it worth it. You probably noticed on Quest Accepted, I am never in videos by myself. This is my solo YouTube debut, so I apologize if it's terrible. My phone is literally taped to the boom stand on my microphone, because we usually record at Kylie and Devin's house in a different town. So hopefully this has not been terrible for you. I may do more book reviews and stuff in the future. If you guys never want to hear me talk again, I will stick to being behind the camera and acting as editor and producer. Otherwise, I would like you to join my Quest Accepted family. We try to post at least once a week, if not more. Seeing as this is my first solo video, I have no idea how to actually end it, so I am just going to leave you with a pretty screen of flowers, buttons to subscribe to both Kayla and my channels, and a playlist that introduces you to Quest Accepted content. I would greatly appreciate it if you would check out a video or two, see what we're about, see if we make you chuckle, and I'll see you next time.